Good morning, Skidaway. I am so happy to be with you this morning. Genesis 21 is where I've been studying this week, and it finally happens. We see the birth of Isaac to Abraham and Sarah after years of longing and waiting, of losing hope, of making rash and foolish decisions. Finally, it's here. Sarah has given birth to Isaac, and she laughs once again, saying that she believes that others will laugh with her. And Isaac is so named for Sarah's laugh. I believe Sarah is overcome with joy. This birth to her comes after so many years. Abraham is 100 years old, and the scripture describes them as being dead in their bodies, in that there was no life that could come forth from their dead bodies. And I believe it is God once again showing his immeasurable power, his commitment to his people, and into showing the world that everything is because of him. And while it's important to take joy in Sarah's laughter, I believe we can all look at this story and find the joy in it, the disbelief, the awe that God's power can bring to our lives. We have to remember that there's also weeping that is happening here, and that Hagar's son, Ishmael, has decided to mock Isaac. I'm sure he's seen all of his dreams, all of that wealth being ripped away from him before his eyes, and he's bitter. And he makes a terrible decision, and in doing so, he is pushed away from Abraham's encampment. And so Hagar and Ishmael run into the desert, and Hagar begins to weep. And God sees her. God hears her in her despair, and God recognizes his promise to turn Abraham's seed into a great nation. And while it was coming from a lack of faith, while their fears had driven the decision that led to Ishmael's conception, we see God promising to honor his promise and turn Ishmael also into a great nation. We can argue that the problems in the Middle East would be significantly different had this not occurred, but it did, and so we see that happening. But in all of this, what sticks out to me most is God's promise fulfilled. And even when God fulfills his promise and it feels like a terrible thing for others, God still sees Hagar. And he becomes known, he gets a new name in this, that the God who sees me. And we can rejoice in that. Whether we are laughing in joy today or weeping in despair, God still sees us and still has a promise for us. My prayer for us today is that we cling to his promises, that we cling to knowing that he is the same God in our joy and in our despair, and that we will recommit ourselves to loving him for that. Have a good day, Skidaway.